This is different.
Well, those traveling losers are back in Hot Tub Time Machine 2. This time they've exploited their knowledge of the future to make themselves rich and famous. What do you think?
This is one of those you go, why? Why a sequel, you know?
Yeah.
To the first, I think it was 5 years ago, Hot Tub Time Machine came out. And I guess it was kind of funny and there was some heart to it, that kind of thing. None of that is here, by the way. This is a really, really bad sequel. One of my kids the other day for a school thing asked me what the word crass meant, you know? And if I didn't think it would warp his little brain, I might show him this movie, you know, as the definition of the word crass. I mean, this is one of those movies that just revels in the immature humor, the juvenileness of it, which is one thing if you're making people laugh, but when it's not even funny as well, that becomes a really difficult, you know, thing to sit through. It just becomes, you know, kind of tedious.
Right. So since we can tell that you loved it so much, give us the best, worst, and final grade on that one.
Okay, yeah, we can go right to it. As far as best thing, I did say the tech effects, and by that I mean kind of the future in this world is kind of cool. It's like Minority Report meets like junior high humor, you know what I mean? But it is kind of cool to see it on screen. That's about all I could find in this. Worst thing, I said the humor drain. When you take the humor out of something like this, you know, I think of the movie Dumb and Dumber 2 as a good example of this as well. They take everything about the original that wasn't necessarily great and amp it up instead of the things that made it work, you know? And overall that brings this movie down to a D-.
D-.
Yeah.
Spend no more time on Hot
Let's get
Tub
to some
Time
good
Machine.
stuff. I want to talk about this next one.
So in McFarland USA, Kevin Costner plays a small town track coach who tries to turn a group of students with the odds stacked against them into competitive runners.
Cross-country running.
So your movie friend on this one, your critique.
Yeah, this is a phenomenal movie. I tell you what, Disney has this true sports story, like this inspirational sports thing, down to a science. Like they've got the formula down and they know how to do it. In this one you may remember like $1 Million Arm, you know, last year, or Miracle, or The Rookie, or you know, all these sports movies they've done.
Rudy?
I don't know that that was Disney, but it's kind of the same, you know, feeling as that. And this is done really, really well. Kevin Costner is great. What I really love about this is how they dip you into the culture of this small town. Just to give you a little kind of backstory of what's going on here. It's a football coach who turns to cross country when he has to, moves his family to this small town, dinky little town, and finds that there are these kids here from this Hispanic community that can really run. And so it's kind of that against all odds, underdog kind of thing. But I love the way it plays with the culture and kind of how he's, you know, the fish out of water in this Hispanic culture, but the things that he's learning. It's a lot about how to not be judgmental of people, you know, about perseverance. There's just some really beautiful themes and message in this.
And I like Kevin Costner.
Yeah, he works really, really well here. He has that perfect kind of combination of likability, but you always feel like he's trying to get through it, like he's, you know, pushing through. And I think that's good here. It works really well for this character and for this story.
All right, so quickly, best, worst, and final grade so we can get to the Oscars.
Yeah, best thing, I said running tears. It's very emotional, and it's all those good emotions. It's like those emotions of hope and joy and all that kind of stuff. I really, really love that. Worst thing, I said repeat lap. We've seen this before. It is the same exact formula, but then again, you know, I've eaten chocolate ice cream before, and it's the same formula, and I love it every time. You know, so it still works. Overall, an A-. This is a really, really good one.
Good. All right, A-. So tomorrow night is the Oscars.
Yeah.
And we had a story earlier with like all of the, you know, predictions and expectant winners. So any surprises for you?
No, I don't think there's going to be many surprises. My thing with the Oscars is it really feels like it needs to figure out how to be a more relevant show. So many of these movies, you know, people just haven't had a chance really to see. The Imitation Game is one I think of. If you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend it, but it's up for an Oscar tonight. You know, Birdman, you know, Grand Budapest Hotel. All of these are great movies, but I just feel like, you know, the general audience hasn't necessarily seen them. Having said that, people love an award show, and you don't have to love football to love Super Bowl Sunday either. So you don't necessarily have to love movies to enjoy. Because it's about the food. It's about, you know, Twitter. It's about, you know, interacting with community. So I expect a good show. Should be a lot of fun. The animated movie race is the one I think will be the most interesting to watch. Well, you know, I might have said Lego Movie, but it didn't even get nominated. So it'll either be How to Train Your Dragon 2 or Big Hero 6. I'm rooting for Big Hero 6. All
right, we'll see if you nail it. All right, your movie friend Aaron Dicer. More reviews from him online at ky3.com. When we come back, FYI guy Jeremy Rabe will show us how to turn a teapot into a lamp.